Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining this wonderful session that we're having of Quarter Conversations. I hope you are looking forward to this as much as I am. I think David and I first conversed about this back in March, so I have been on pins and needles up until this point. So no pun intended. Looking forward to this. But this is an opportunity to discover a gentle and relaxing way to support your health with Qigong, a traditional practice from China that combines slow movement, easy breathing, and simple mindfulness. Similar to Tai Chi, this approach is easy to learn and can be done seated or standing, making it ideal for seniors of all abilities. In this introductory session, you'll learn simple movements to improve balance and circulation, basic breathing techniques to calm the mind, and practical tips on eating in a way that supports energy and digestion. Whether you're completely new or already familiar with Chinese medicine and Tai Chi, this session will offer a safe and welcoming space to relax, move, and feel better. Now, about Mr. Glasser. David Gaseor first met and began training with his teaching grandmaster Fu Weizong in 2008 while studying physical therapy in Northern California. Later, he deepened his understanding in Qigong by formally studying Eastern medicine and receiving first his Master of Science in Traditional Oriental Medicine and later his doctorate of acupuncture and Chinese medicine while learning how to use Qigong clinically. In 2019, after years of practice and intensive month-long training with Grandmaster Fu, David was accepted by him as a senior student and honored to be selected as fourth generation Emei teacher. David is a very humble person. He presents in a way that makes you feel like you can conquer the world. So we should all leave here today with great energy and enthusiasm. Without further ado, I will introduce you to Dr. Gazel.
Thank you. Wow. That was a lovely introduction, and I appreciate you riffing off of it in those special ways. I will most certainly do my best, and it is great to see so many of you out there. This is going to be a dynamic presentation. I like to use slides, but don't let that stop you. If you have any questions, you can raise your hand, you can put it in the chat, you can unmute. And I'm very much looking forward to this. So without further ado, we'll get right into it. Let me minimize a few things on my screen. And hello. Yeah, thank you so much. And I just want to say again how great it is that this group exists, that it started around COVID and has continued on till today. And today, we're going to learn about some different tools. As you can see here from the slide, one can dig in the sand with either a smaller shovel or a larger piece of machinery, or even with your hands and get a very different result. So it is important to know what tools are available and then what they are used for. Because right now, I feel like for a lot of us, these are some stressful, busy times, and we or some others that we might know might be dealing with injury or illness. And anytime you turn on the TV or hear about the news, I feel like there's a stress response that comes about, and it almost has become part of our life. It's ingrained. They know that more people will watch or click or stay viewing if there's some controversy or some conflict. But that absolutely has an effect on the body. And there's very much a mind body connection that both Eastern medicine that I studied, and now, of course, Western doctors as well, and certainly the scientists and the researchers, they all agree upon. And so today we're going to talk about something that might be new to you, but in fact is quite old. This is a representation here of the founder of this school of Qigong. And actually, next year is going to be our 800-year anniversary of the founding of this school. So, this individual, his name was Bai Yuan, and he is who started it. He was a former soldier who turned monk and was from a neighboring Taoist mountain. And he went on a pilgrimage to this place, very high up. This is called Mount Ermei, and it is the highest of the four Buddhist mountains in China. And there he fasted and meditated and created this system that I was trained in by my teacher, who is part of the 13th generation of these unbroken teachers, part of that lineage. And I'm now part of the 14th generation, and all of you on this call today are now inheriting this as part of that 15th generation. So that's pretty awesome. And that is the lineage of Qigong. And that's the topic that was introduced and we're going to be able to talk about today. Now, a simple translation that you might see in a dictionary or on the computer would show you something like this, that it could be translated simply as breathing exercises, but there's a lot more to it. We're going to go some more in depth with these different concepts to help you understand the history and the theory. So when we do some of the movements, it'll make sense. And then you'll also be able to see applicability to other things, maybe things that you're already doing. So in ancient China, the concept of qi was related to many different things. It was an agrarian society, and they learned to describe the world around them with these different concepts, the whole environment, the trees, the mist, the sun, and earth. It was really simply the essence of all matter. But then, of course, it could be applied in some very specialized technical ways. They looked at the movement of the stars, and that helped them to understand the weather and the season, which of course was important then for farming and different directions. They understood the different elements that made up the world around them. And then the time and the calendar and the hours of when and where the chi was flowing in the body, and of course, related to the seasons around them. They saw all these amazing parallels. And some of you may have heard that this is the year of the Yang fire horse. And July this month is also, because we can describe time in a variety of different ways. We can look at the year, the month, the day, and the hour. And so here, the month of July is also that yang fire horse. So that could explain some of the heat wave, the fires, all of these different phenomena that we're experiencing is rooted back in some of these theories. And it was foundational as far as how they understood medicine and the body and dysfunction and healing. Another quick sidebar, Qigong understands the body in a much different way. And oftentimes, when I'm working with people and I ask, well, why do you think you have this particular presentation? They'll often say to me, well, it might not make much sense, but then they'll explain something to me in a particular way that's involving either the emotions or the acupuncture channels or the Chinese organs or parts of the body that makes perfect sense. And once I'm able to put it through that lens, it's like an amazing aha moment. But some of that, again, is going to be beyond the scope of this talk, but something to keep in mind. There's something about your intuition and your knowing that even if Western science as of yet isn't able to yet prove it, certainly does come into play and can explain this. So absolutely trust your gut. And then we know over time now, Western medicine can logically explain why there's that gut-brain connection and everything else like that. So some of these idioms and adages, there's a lot of truth in. So it's a very systematic way of understanding things. They looked at law and politics and philosophy and have some classic books. And so chi is literally everything. It's all energy, all life, and all matter. Now, Gong, on the other hand, Gong is reaching different levels of achievement over time through cultivating and practicing different methods that affect the chi. So these different concepts like work and practice and cultivation is not too far from the idea of cultivating in a garden. You will adjust different things when you're planting. It might be the amount of light or soil or water. All of those things not only are chi, but then can also affect chi. So this is something that you will do over time. And it's part of many, many different practices. So some of you may have done or most likely heard of Tai Chi, traditional yoga, meditation, Reiki, energy medicine. Some differences now that we've talked a little bit or brought into the conversation, Tai Chi and Qigong, because they're often talked about together, both in research are often lumped together and called meditative movements or meditative movement exercises. Tai Chi is actually a slow moving martial art, believe it or not, with a long choreographed sequence, and then there's lots of stepping and movement that's part of it. And there's some Qigong, like the Shaolin monks, that also have a martial art application, but the Qigong that I learned from that Mounter Emei is focused completely on healing and uses simple, repetitive movements with a focused mind. That's going to be the key. And like we talked about before, it's very adaptable. You can be standing, you could be seated or lying down. And some literature also talks about Tai Chi as a type of Qigong, or that some Qigong forms have Tai Chi-like movements. But those are the basic differences between the two. And as we're talking about tools, again, I know many of you probably already have tools that have served you well. Some of your tools might look like doing work in the garden. I know for my father, it's fishing, cooking, music. These are all centering, grounding activities that really help you to slow down, connect with nature, connect with yourself and others, and can sometimes help you get into that relaxed flow state. So again, today we're going to talk about Qigong tools and concepts that you can incorporate that might be different than you've learned before and can help you shift your perspective. Because a fixed position or mindset can be limiting. And as we all know, depending upon how you're looking at something, that's very much going to influence what you see about it. So first, let's look at posture. How do we stand? How do we sit? And when we do our practice, we call this our ready position. And strong emotions, like we said before, can have an effect on the body. So we can see from these bodies, these little characters, that mind-body connection that we've all experienced at different times. So being grounded and extending those moments of calm is going to be very helpful to help us with these extreme spaces, to help to extend that. So this is my teacher, and he's in a good, balanced, ready position. The feet are about shoulder width apart, and the body is in alignment, and he's grounded, steady, and strong. And this is something that you can also, again, do while seated. Zooming in, we can see here that the feet are parallel, or you might have the toes pointed in a little bit if comfortable. And this is an important point that we're going to talk about again. Listen to your body. It is giving you useful information. So your ready position and how you sit or move throughout some of these exercises might look different than anybody else, and that's okay. Your body is giving you useful information. When your feet are parallel, though, that's going to do something then if the feet were out. So if your feet are out, here's someone getting ready to fight and move their energy out, the toes are out, the chest is open and out, and your energy goes out. Importantly, again, when we're standing or seated, and this can be independent even of the Qigong practices, when the feet are parallel, it helps to make the natural shape in the feet of a position like a circle, and that helps keep that energy in and contained. So as we're practicing our energy or as we're trying to get grounded, this is one simple, easy step that you can practice at any time that's going to help to achieve that. And on the feet at the very bottom is the lowest acupuncture point on the body, and it helps to connect us to the ground and to the earth. And in fact, one of its names is called the earth push point. So, like the plant rooted in soil, we can envision ourselves being rooted as well. In this very busy image, I just want you to note on the bottom how energy from the earth connects with the body, and then that energy is going to come up the legs. And as we move up the legs in our own posture, once we get to the knees, we'll want them to be relaxed and have a slight bend to them. It's important if there's any tension in the body to be able to let that go. So you'll be able to notice in time if your legs are locked or if there's something that seems uncomfortable. Again, you want to listen to that and understand it. The hips are going to be slightly tucked under, and technically we call this a posterior pelvic tilt. But what that looks like is it helps to flatten your back. When you slightly tuck the hips under, it's helpful to relieve tightness in the back. Again, this is something that even if you're seated, you can pay attention to your positioning, independent of any sort of Qigong practice about how are you standing, how are you seated, and how can you create just a subtle movement that opens up some space and can help to put you more in alignment. So once you're there on your sit bones or those ischial tuberosities, those bony bones at the bottom of the pelvis that you're sitting on right now, if you can either have yourself in alignment, or if easier, you can scoot all the way back to a straight back chair, and that's going to put you in pretty good alignment as well. As we're moving up the body, when we get to the shoulders, when we think about their positioning, we'd like them to be slightly rounded. And so what that does is it creates a slightly curved in nature, similar to that circle on the bottom of the feet, and it allows there to be space for movement and for flow. So here's that yin yang symbol in balance, and it's an overlay. But recognize that the yin and the yang in our body and around it, it's always in motion. And I'm going to show you a better image of this a little bit later on. But when you have an opening, when you have space, when you have that little bit of curvature, that allows there to be space, that allows there to be movement. And it's so useful for the body. Once things can flow, and flow in all direction, then any sort of blockages are able to be relieved. And you can even think of smaller circles where there is space. So with one hand, you can feel a little bit under your collarbone in front of the shoulder. And if you have a slight round to your shoulder, you'll notice there's a space. Again, if that chest is out, if there's too much energy going out, that space disappears. The same phenomena, once you have your hips slightly tucked under, is then also created there in front of the hips, again, creating that space. And the last part of the body as we're moving up is going to be the head and the neck. And this one is a slight pulling in or retraction of the chin. And sometimes it's only just something that you can do with your mind. You can think about if your posture is a little bit too much out, if you want to lengthen and open up, just drawing in slightly that chin. Again, this is going to help to align that curvature in the back and put the whole body in alignment. It's a subtle move, but it's quite powerful. And some people like to visualize a string at the very top of the head, pulling it straight up, and that can also help in this phenomena and with that imagery of the practice. And so if that helps you, feel free to incorporate it. And these are all details just to get us set up. And I like that we have the recording that you can go back and see, but please don't let them overwhelm you. I just want you to be able to notice things over time and, of course, adjust all of the different posturing to your own level of comfort. Exercise sometimes has a bad connotation. We're told by the doctor that we need to do more of it, even myself included. But looking at our posture, anytime we're feeling a little bit uncomfortable and using some of these subtle tips can be very useful. And what we do in our Emei Qigong is we set our intention. So at the very beginning, we'll get ourselves into a good posture. Or if you, again, you catch yourself and you're seated in such a way that's uncomfortable, pay attention to that and see what you can adjust with some of those tips. And then kind of put that forth, repeat it a few times, but then let it go. Like as we're practicing some movements later on today, we'll get into our ready position, but don't keep thinking about the ready position. I gave you a lot of details, but it's important just to help us kind of counter correct some movements that we do when we're out of balance. It helps us to pay attention when we're out of alignment. So a posture like this is so very common, and sometimes the screen might be high or low. And I like to talk about the posture first because even if we tried to do a relaxed breathing while we were in a posture like this, it's not going to go very well. We won't be able to have that breath go very deep. And again, there's things that are out of alignment. And if we just focus mostly on the feet and the head and feeling them firmly planted into the ground and then the head connected going up to the sky, most of the rest of the body is going to be able to be in a good position beyond that. And one more helpful trick for the feet, using that earth push point, is if we apply just a little bit of pressure, whether it's a slight lean forward when you're standing, or if you're seated, if you just apply a little bit of pressure on the front of your foot, that's going to help you be more grounded. You can set that intention with your mind, like we talked about before, and repeat it a few times of the feet being connected to the earth and grounding you. So you can repeat that, say 3 times, and then let it go. And when you're standing, this might be a little bit too much of a lean, but just something subtle. A little bit of forward pressure is something that can be very, very useful to feel connected if you're feeling a little bit out of balance. And so, anytime, in fact, we're all seated now, so this is something that, in fact, you could practice. Great for the train or the plane or anything else like that. But what about the mind? How do we keep it from going in all of these different directions? And hopefully, not too many of these are currently happening to you right now. And this is the key of the Qigong, like we talked about before. We're going to give the mind something to focus on. And this is also what's going to make our movements more than just simple calisthenics or exercises. So concepts like to think about or bring your attention to, or your intention, or the mind intention, or your focused, all of those are about the same. And with that concept, the very first spot that we'll start to incorporate that mind intention or thinking about is going to be the lower abdomen. And maybe you've heard this called your lower dantian. And if you haven't, what that simply means is that this is a lower energy center of the body. This is a spot that's below the navel, and you can put your hand there. And once you're a little bit more comfortable with that spot, don't worry about exactly where it is, then we can start to incorporate the breathing. So we're going to think about the lower abdomen. We're going to pay attention to our breathing, and we can notice and feel where that is. So if we can slow down and relax and lengthen the breathing, because sometimes if we're stressed or anxious, we might have breathing from our chest, or if we're very stressed or very anxious, it might go all the way up into the neck. You've seen people that are angry and they're not breathing very deep at all. So all of the breathing that we're going to be doing throughout the practices today are going to be focused more on the relaxed, slower breath. The eyes are also a very useful part of this practice. So with them, you can relax or soften them. If you feel comfortable after starting some of the movements, you can even close them. And it can be powerful too, because we bring in so much information through the eyes all of the time, just to be able to do some slow respites and take some slow breaks with a slow blink or closing them for a little bit. And even bringing in with our mind, once we've done that, if we're needing to help center or ground ourselves, a place where we feel either now or in the past very secure and strong and safe and grounded. So you can do a quick flash to that place with your eyes closed, and that can really shift your energy quite rapidly. It's also very useful to connect the tongue to the top of the mouth. And what we say in our school is just behind the teeth is where we like to rest the tongue on the ridge there. So don't overthink it. And different schools have different ideas about this, but just know that anywhere is fine. And that helps to create a circuit of energy flowing in the body. So even before we've started to move, these are concepts that are going to be able to help us in our practice. Or if you just want to be able to take some breaks throughout the day, again, take a moment, look at your posture, relax your breathing, and to soften your eyes or close your eyes. That can be enough to have a brief respite. I like this next part that we're all going to practice again together here when I'm feeling a little bit low on energy. Or again, if I'm having some emotions and I want to be able to shift my energy. Or if it feels like there's something out of balance, because this is that image that we saw before and again, and have probably most often seen representing a perfectly balanced yin and yang energy. But that is not really what the day-to-day state of our body or actually anything in nature actually is. In reality, things are always shifting and moving, and that's okay. That is part of life. Every day is a little bit different, and Qigong has some explanations why, but we've all experienced either good or bad days or weeks or sometimes even years. And so if the yang fire horse is good for you, then maybe you're having a very good year and a very good July. But if for your particular constitution, if that yang fire isn't the right thing, you might feel a little bit out of balance. And that's why we have these practices. That's why we have these tools. This practice, again, is so very useful to help wake up the energy, to shift it mentally, physically, and to be able to clear and rebalance. And so we look to nature and to the idiom of shaking it off. And many cultures and even modern science recognizes the benefit of this too. But again, this is not new. It's actually part of an 800-year-old text. This is what the gentleman at the beginning of the presentation wrote. And it says here, the essence of the form is to follow the natural chi. So it's a concept of activating and shaking, almost like the jiggling atoms that make up everything in the whole universe. And so we're going to be able to affect that. So from our ready position, we're going to use our hands and we're going to put them both above and below the navel. So on that lower abdomen, that lower dantian, the energy reserve, and then the stomach area. And here we make a distinction. We say for women, it's best if the left hand is above the navel. And then for men, it's the right hand that is in the position that's above the navel. And here I've marked the line, and you don't, again, need to be very exacting about where you place this, but just know that there are some powerful acupuncture points on the palms, and then we connect them with the body. And this is going to, again, help to create a circuit, help get the energy moving. And then it's also supportive to yourself. You'll notice once you do practice this, that it makes you feel a little bit different. You're connected in a different way than, say, if you were just doing different bouncing movements outside of it on a trampoline or on a vibrating plate. So we're going to press and then make contact with the hands. And so we're not going to rub up and down on the body, but they're going to stay static. We're going to stay connected to those points on the body, those energy centers. We do, though, want to be mindful for ourselves, and if we share this with other people, that if there's an acute or a fresh broken bone, don't shake it up. That's going to be very painful. That's in fact how they sometimes test for broken bones is they'll tap or move a little bit to see if there's a break. And then of course we certainly want to be cautious around pregnancy. So during the first and third trimesters, if you'd like to share this practice, which I encourage you to, because it's very simple to learn and it's easy to share, you do want to be mindful of that. And so the motion is going to look like this. Hopefully, our video comes through pretty clearly. It's a slight jogging, bouncing, jiggling motion. Again, it's almost like if you were on a mini trampoline, but your feet are staying on the ground. And it's just the movement is generated by the hips. It's the hips and the waist that start the motion and drive the motion. And it's going to give you a lot of those same benefits. It's going to help wake up the body, shift the body, but also looking at things like blood circulation and lymph in the body. This is something that's going to be very, very helpful. And the mind intention is going to be non-specific. So before we were saying in our ready position, it's helpful to think about the lower abdomen, or if we're trying to be grounded, if we want to help center ourselves, it's good to anchor the intention and attention there. But here with the movement, we're just going to focus on the movement. Or if that's something that's a bit challenging to you, if you can, you're able to just clear your mind and have no specific mind intention at all. You can just have that simple awareness of that body movement. So again, you can think of it like gently bouncing on a mini trampoline. But what I like is in this practice, there's no extra equipment that you need. After a few minutes of bouncing, and we'll do this at the end of this section, we're going to separate the hands out in front of the body. And this is going to start a balancing practice. So we'll put our mind intention on the palm. So here, once they separate out from the front of the body and it's in front of us, then that mind intention is going to go on the palms and how they're naturally bouncing. Sometimes when you're doing this movement, because there's a rebalancing of the left and the right and above and below, the palms will naturally face up or down. And we let them, but we don't put any extra mind intention to it. We just let the palms move how they want to. But as we're transitioning from the movement and we let the palms go, the upper hand is going to face down and the lower hand is going to face up. Just a subtle little detail, but if you forget that, that's fine. It's still going to be beneficial, and there's no harm that will be done. And you might notice that on certain days or in certain times when you practice it, it might be a little bit faster or a little bit slower. Sometimes that bouncing is a little bit bigger or smaller, that motion from the hips or the hands themselves, where they're positioned, might be a little bit higher or a little bit lower. And again, like we kind of touched on before, day to day and season to season, things are changing around us, and the external also affects the internal. So every day is going to alternate between a yin and a yang day. And you can study these different things in great detail, but just be aware that there's a lot that's going on that, even though I'm giving you some theory, gets incorporated and is very beneficial for balancing. And so just it's nice to be able to pay attention to it. And like we said at the beginning, to be able to follow it. So here's that slow relaxation of the hands in front of the body while we continue that jogging motion. And pay attention, that upper hand is now facing down and that lower hand is facing up. And so all of the different movements, whether it's something we're going to start, so we're going to start the jogging, or we're going to finish, we're going to slow down at the end, or we're going to transition between the two, where the palms are on the abdomen versus the palms are in the front, are gradual and they are smooth. Here, both of my teacher's palms are facing down, and he's just following what feels comfortable. He's following the chi without any mind intention. And so he's going a little bit to one side and to the other. So allow yourself a little bit of freedom when you're doing this movement. Again, the mind intention is focused on the palms, but we're not actually directing any movement of will the palms go up or will the palms go down. Again, the chi directs and moves the body according to the different brain signals. And this starts a natural rebalancing of whatever is out of balance in the body. We get to slowly start to bring in there all of the different elements within the body are connected to each other. So without even knowing the theory behind it, there gets to be a natural rebalancing. And you find a more balanced flow state can come into existence. And this is something that you can do for just a few minutes. But do not underestimate this practice because there's a saying from the school that 1,000 vibrations drives away 100 different kinds of diseases. And so this is really great for digestion. And so it's helpful that we're on Zoom. So any gas that's in the body that needs to come out can without embarrassment. We actually say sometimes that that's the chi that's moving. And so I've talked quite a bit, and this is something that you're all welcome to practice. You can either have your video on or off, and normally there's some laughing if you're in a big group. But I would encourage you, and you can stay seated if you would like to, or you can stand. And again, we have our ready position. And we can put one palm. Again, men, we say if you put your right palm above the navel, and for women, this is going to be your left palm, and then that opposite hand below. And the feet feel connected to the earth. If you want, you can do a slight lean. Again, it's a subtle lean. It's just a little bit of pressure on the front of your foot. And with the hips, you just start that motion. And again, this helps you wake up the energy, shake off the energy, anything that's not yours and that you don't need, you can let go. Mm. Mind intention again can be on that bouncing, going all the way down to the feet, all the way up to the head. And you can do this practice for a little bit and then transition to the palms in front of the body. So the upper hand goes down, the lower hand can face up. And then as you're doing this, they naturally start to flip up and down if they want to. The breathing is relaxed, the mind intention is on the palms. And when we're ready to transition, we just do lower and lower, smaller and smaller bounces back to that ready position. And thank you to the brave people that I saw stood up and try. And those of you with your cameras off, I assume all of you did that. And I've taught this practice in this form to people in all different states, and some of them have limited mobility. So this is absolutely something that you can do in your chair, up and down. It's the same phenomena, again, with that mind intention. So I'll get our slides going again. Oh, and this shows that slow transition from the practice, which the two people that I did see, you all did an amazing job. So you're bouncing little by little, less by less. That's always something that when we're doing the different movements, as we start to bring in some more and we tie them together, And I'll be mindful of the time too. We might have to skip some or do something later at the end. Maybe we'll have to leave the food and the diet off. I'll just give you a quick teaser about what we might talk about in a future class. But let's next look at the upper body. This is a portion of the body that actually holds a lot of stress and a lot of tension. And we're going to start with this very gentle movement of the shoulder drop. And so here we relax and slowly lower the shoulder as far as it will naturally go. Again, this is a very subtle movement, and we're not pushing anything, we're not stressing anything. This is not a forced lowering, and we don't raise the shoulder before we lower it. So we're going to alternate different sides, but when you're doing that, there might be a natural tendency to want to raise one. This one is going from a neutral position, and then there's that slow, relaxed, natural opening. So this is an internal relaxation of that joint and that ligament, and it allows the arm to naturally drop down. So any tension in the head or in the neck, this is a great subtle movement. Again, I want you to be able to practice this anytime. That is very, very useful. And in this demo, you're going to be able to see the slight movement from the shoulder and the arm. Here it's the left shoulder, and there it is, the right shoulder. It's very, very small. It's relaxing and stretching down, alternating one side and then the other. Nothing is forced, and this is not a big movement at all. So something that might help you with this movement is thinking about the scapula in the back versus the arm and how that might move. So if you think about a slight lowering of the scapula on the outside and at the same time internally relaxing the tendons and the ligaments. So it's a very gentle, but again, this is a powerful movement. To get very technical, there's a slight medial rotation, kind of inside to out, that's happening there in the scapula. But this is a gentle opening exercise, and we can alternate left and then right. So you can think about the palms, or you can think about the whole area of the arm from the shoulders down to the hands. And you can also think about how that energy might start, go down one arm to one palm, and then as you're alternating to the other side, go down to the other one. So again, here's some audience participation. We're going to practice this one, even though it's a little bit hard to see. It's a subtle movement. You can be standing or seated if you would like, but we'll start on the left side, just down, up, and the right side, down, and then up. And that mind intention, it's the energy goes down to the palm, the lengthening, the stretching, and comes back up, and then goes to the other side on the opposite arm, down to the palm, and then back up. So alternating left and right. We do this, we look at numbers in a pretty powerful way. We'll look at things in terms of threes, nines. We'll alternate this one when we're doing a much longer practice, 18 different times. But as much as you're able to relax your mind, you can take that out of it, just whatever is to your level of comfort. Next, we do small rotations, and these rotations, these circles, are just going back, down, and around. So we'll start on the left side with the left shoulder, and it just goes back, down, and around. And it's a very small, small movement. Here we'll see on the left arm, three circles. One, two, three. And again, we're not raising it. And then alternating to the right, three circles. One, two, and three. And again, that mind intention, it can be on the arms, it can be on the shoulders. They're relaxed and we're creating space. We want to bring these different joints into a comfortable level of being able to take them through the rotation, through their ability to shift in space. So the mind intention is on the palms, it's on the arms. And this is one that we can practice now too. Here, you can stay seated if you'd like. It's good to be able to practice standing, seated, or in any type of position. But have yourself in good alignment. And with the left shoulder, 3 times. And then you can switch to the right shoulder, 3 times. Then we alternate back to the left shoulder. This is a movement, you don't want to do any of these movements very quickly. We want slow transitionings and a slower execution. Because you can do them quickly, but then you're going to lose what it is that we're trying to do with our practices. This is opening up all the different channels because the different channels of the body, all of them flow around all of the joints, whether it's the wrist or the elbow or the shoulder. But it's actually the shoulder where things get most stuck, especially as we age. So it's really great to have these subtle movements with mind intention. And where the mind goes, we send more energy. It has a greater and different amplified effect. From the small circles, I'll look at the time. Uh, we can switch actually. We'll do the larger circles as well. We'll go through all of these and then we'll maybe put them together at the end. So with the big rotations, here we're getting the palms involved. So the palms are about shoulder width apart, and then we raise them. The palms are facing each other. I'll show you a video of this, but they're in front of the body, and anywhere over the head, you open them up, and the palms then face forward. And then when you lower them to your side, the palms are then going to face downward to the ground. So they're naturally facing that way. And here we go from the small circles, and you can practice them with both hands, both arms together, and then we raise them. So the arms come up. Anywhere above the head, we open them and we bring them down. Gentle movement. Here, the mind intention is on the palms. And importantly, the rotations have a circular quality. So instead of thinking them going all the way up, all the way out, and all the way down to the side like a T, or maybe the elementary backstroke with angles, things here are tracing ovals. Again, this is a common theme about the circles and the movements and how we want there to be flow through all of the different joints and through all the different movements. So first we'll do some shoulders going forward, and then we're going to transition. And here's a good example of a smooth transition where we come up and then we're going to reverse the direction of the circles. And when we're doing this, not only is our mind intention on the palms and on the hands, but you'll start to notice, maybe some of you today and maybe over time, that there's a lifting or floating sensation when you're raising your arms. And then that turns into more of a sinking sensation, like something going through the water when you're lowering them. And then when the palms are together or apart, you'll notice something that's like a magnet that's repelling or attracting them. So here's the magnetic forces, and it's a good one to think of when you're doing some of these exercises and some of these practices. But don't feel like you need to or should be feeling anything in particular. You can get your active mind out of the way, but just pay attention that as you do the gong, as you practice this over time, that's something that you might become aware of. So there's a raising and a lowering. And like we said before, the movement helps open and eliminate the blockages and enhances the circulation. And this is so important because that shoulder joint is the weakest point of the different hand meridians and what starts to give us some trouble. So we'll do a little bit of practice with this movement, and I'll stay seated. You're welcome to stand if you'd like, but the palms go forward. Anywhere above the head, we can open them up. Nice. And then they can come back down. And remember, think about your palms. Put your focus on the palms. Nice. Open them up and come back down. Excellent. And this one will come up halfway, and then we'll reverse the movement. So arms are down, palms are facing the bottom. We bring them up. Anywhere above the head, we bring them together. And we bring them back down the center. Again, palms facing down, arms are out. Anywhere above the head, together and down. One more, palms out. Center of the body and down. Excellent. And this next part is going to be involving the lower body, which is so very useful. And we're going to start with the knees. And so since we're now moving to a different part of the body, we're going to focus our attention on the knees. Again, whatever is moving, think about. And for stability, or again, you can just do this seated. You can have something to grab onto, either a chair or a nearby surface until you feel comfortable and secure in the movement. And this one is, again, it's another really slow and gentle movement, and it's involving a rotation of the left knee, and it's going to go inward. Here, if we were doing a longer practice, we might do it 9 times in a small circle. The movement really isn't big. We're just moving that joint in all the different directions, and the hip and the ankle are going to have some subtle movements too. So don't think that this is just going to be about the knee. You'll feel a little bit more locked up. So let the whole leg be a part of this motion. And again, very small movements, and you're thinking about your knee. After we've done some circles on one knee going one direction, on that same knee, we're going to be going the other direction. In this caveat, though, we say if there's too much strain, if you feel any sort of discomfort, of course, we want to listen to this and then gently shift your weight onto the other foot. So while you're standing on one, you'll see just a subtle movement. And again, if you need to, feel free to adjust that weight going to the other leg. After we've done one, we're going to then switch to the other. So 9 times, or just do a certain amount or to your level of comfort on one side, and then the other. And again, the movements and their transitions are very smooth. Inside first, when you switch to the other leg, inward circles, and then outward circles. And again, can also do this seated. This is great if you have a long flight or a long train ride and you want to get some movement in there. Again, don't forget the mind. Think about the knee and do these movements. So we'll do some of them together. You can stay seated if you'd like. I'll stand even though I'm going to be pretty far away, which is kind of nice to have those videos and the visuals. So we'll start on the left side. Small movements, barely perceptible. Thinking about the left knee, rotating inward. And then change directions. Now it's going more from the inside out. And it might feel a little different, one direction versus the other direction. And feel free to adjust how much pressure is on that leg. You can lean a little bit more to the other side. Of course, you can have something nearby. This is a great thing to do, say if you're at the sink or if you're waiting in line. Subtle movements. And then we'll switch to the other knee. Again, these rotations, we start going inward. It's going to be the right knee doing small circles, thinking about the knee. You feel comfortable, you can soften your eyes or close your eyes. That helps your mind focus. And we can change directions. As we finish, we can just do smaller and smaller circles with the knee back to our standing ready position. This next movement is also for the legs. Oftentimes people tell me it's one of their favorites, and it's great because a lot of what we've talked about, whether if it's your posture or in other movements, it's we're trying to do movements that we might not have done before, or we're trying to undo other movements in different planes that perhaps we do all of the time. And it has a nice name. So we can think about moving the body, and of course, I'll show you the visual, side to side or back and forth like a pendulum or a weeping willow tree that's gracefully swaying in the breeze. To understand this movement, we'll start by looking at the feet. So this is very zoomed in. And please note that when he starts his swaying side to side, he's going to adjust his feet, which of course we would want to do too. But he's also going to lean very far from one side to the other. And when you first start doing this, there's no need to go up on the sides of the feet like he is. And again, here, it's also a very good time to be able to hold on to a chair until you feel safe and comfortable with the different movements. So first we sway to the left side, and he adjusts a little bit his feet, and then to the right side. You do see the soles of his shoes are coming up, but that's very extreme. He's adjusting again. But all we want to do is that side to side motion, which helps to stimulate some very powerful acupuncture points in the ankles. And it's also, again, counterbalancing all of that front and back movements that we do walking all the time. This is a movement that we probably don't do so often. So it is so very, very useful to be able to incorporate. Here we'll see the whole body shot of that motion, and it's also going to show the ending when we slowly reduce the amplitude of the movement and then go back to the ready position. So the rest of the body is staying straight. Now we're not doing any leaning in this. It's just the ankles that are gently, subtly creating this movement. So The technique originated from the way of the weeping willow in the breeze. And again, this came from that older book, almost 800 years ago. And it's another great one. Again, when you're standing in line at the grocery store with your cart, or waiting for the bus, or standing at the sink, this is an excellent one and is very good at strengthening and activating the different points and the channels on the body. So, for all of us to practice together, have a good standing position. Again, the feet might come in a little bit when you start to incorporate this movement, but you go one side and then to the other side, side to side. The mind intention is on that swaying motion. Strengthening and stretching and relaxing the inside and the outside of the legs. Again, also something that you can do seated as well. And whenever we're ready to transition from this, just a slower swing, gentler amplitude, back to that ready position. Excellent. Very good. Next is going to be the center, the middle of the body. And if it was the shoulders originally in the upper part of the body, and then the knees in the lower part of the body, it's absolutely the waist and the back once we get here to the middle. So this movement is going to be larger circles. And whereas before, when we were doing smaller circles for the knee and we weren't too concerned about how large they were, with this movement, we want them to be as large as comfortable, but of course, don't do anything that puts you out of alignment or that doesn't feel good. And importantly, even though we're doing this circular motion with the waist and with the hips, the spine is still in alignment. So we're not bending. We're keeping the back straight as we're doing this cool hula hoop like motion. So from our ready position, we put the palms in front of the abdomen. And it's okay if you'd like to, you can just have them on your waist, but then the hands kind of trace the movement of the hips. We start by going to the left, back, right, and around. So large continuous circles. And you can see we go one direction and the other. The hands are just tracing the path of the movement. The mind intention just stays on the waist. And then when we're going to be doing the transition from one side to the other, it's a quick switch. So to keep the movements fluid between them, which I think we'll have enough time to be able to practice at the end of all of this, we're going to put all these moves together. It's going to be a gentle transition. So you'll be able to see that here. We're going one direction, and then it curves into the opposite direction. All right. And so we're going to have that focus, we're going to have that mind attention on the waist and on the abdomen. So again, we just want to be able to have a relaxed, natural breathing throughout this and a calm mind. The quick and dirty is whatever is moving, we're going to be thinking about. And does anybody have any questions? We'll set our intention, then we'll let it go. So I did see something pop up in the chat. We'll see if that was from me or someone else. That was for someone else. All right. Someone is going to be watching the recording as they go, but this is a great time. Does anyone else have any questions before we put this different sequence together? And something that, as you're thinking, is useful is if you wanted to just do that beginning bouncing motion and then just the leg exercises, or even just one leg exercise, you're welcome to. Or you could incorporate some of the movements that we did without that initial kind of warming up and shaking and bouncing. So you have a lot of flexibility with this. I want these to be things that you can use. And again, once you're comfortable with them, you can reach out if you have any questions, but then they're very easy to share with others. So seeing no raised hands and no one coming off of mute. Let's see. What words can help us think about and increase? I have to click awareness of the chi. I would think that that concept that we spoke a little bit before about the magnetic feeling, like with the palms, there's such great sensitivity when they map the hands onto the brain. I think they call it a homunculum. They take up a large portion of that space. So exercises where you're bringing them together or apart, there's a whole separate set of exercises that we could get into about noticing, or we could even practice them right now. Awareness of the chi. So if you bring your palms together and open them, and then wherever it feels comfortable, bring them back together. And then I want you to think about your palms when you're doing this. So we open them up. And I've also been doing all the exercises, so maybe we need to do the exercises before we do this. If you haven't been doing them, do know that doing some of the Qigong exercises are going to increase these Qi sensations. But it's like there's a certain weight to them. Sometimes there's a tingling, or they feel like the magnets bringing them together and apart. And do know that even if you have different or no chi sensations, we don't do the practices to feel the chi, but we can pay attention to them. So, calming the mind and doing them again over time, you're definitely going to notice a difference. And I have not mentioned any breathing intention. You're right. The breath is relaxed. So we're not saying, oh, when my hands are opening, I have to inhale or exhale. For this particular practice and these particular forms, that's a great question. I think in Tai Chi, some of the teachers that I've learned from, you're opening and breathing in a certain way, and then you're exhaling when you're doing a different movement. So that's an absolute great question to clarify. So throughout the whole form, even you might find your breathing kind of being synchronized in certain ways. It's not required. So just a very relaxed breath. Have it in the lower abdomen. It's a good thing to pay attention to anytime you feel like you're a little bit out of sorts, or if the mind starts to wander, you can then again check back in with your breathing. And again, whatever's moving, you can start to think about. That's another really great question. Thank you, Peggy. All right, let's do some movements. We'll put it all together and then we'll leave enough time at the end if there's more. So again, you can be seated or you can be standing. And we're going to start them from the beginning. So we have our ready position. Our feet are parallel, or the toes might be going in slightly. The knees are relaxed. They'll have a slight bend to them. And then that back, again, if the butt's out, we want to tuck it under. Again, that helps to open up the low back. If you have a little bit of tension there, this subtle movement of you're in a neutral versus a slight tuck under, flattening the back down can make a huge difference. The shoulders are relaxed, they're not pulled back, there's a slight round to them. The chin is slightly going in, If it helps, you can think about a string at the top of the head. And then we can think about the lower abdomen. Can put the tongue on the roof of the mouth. Slow and lengthen the breathing. And go ahead and put one hand on the lower abdomen. You can feel the breathing. The stomach goes out just a little bit. We're not forcing it. And slightly in. And we'll put the other hand above, anywhere above the navel. And slight movement and bouncing again from the hips. The whole body is relaxed. Relaxing the eyes, or if you feel comfortable, closing the eyes. And let the hands naturally relax in front of the abdomen. Keep doing our bouncing. And if the palms want to move, again, if it's an odd sensation, you have to have the experience. You're bouncing, your palms are in front of the abdomen, you're thinking about your palms, and sometimes they just naturally want to go up or go down. Again, it's the body doing its natural balancing. Just a little bit longer. And then we'll slow it down little by little back to our standing ready position. And we'll transition. It's the left shoulder, relaxing it down, lengthening it, bringing it back up to the right shoulder, relaxing it down, slight movement in the scapula. It comes back up, alternating to the left, opening, stretching, lengthening. Then on to the right, thinking about the arms, thinking about the palm. Back up, left again. Letting all that tension go. And now back to the right. Gentle down. Slow, gentle back up. Left one more time, down. And up. And then the right, down. And then back up. And then small circles, the left shoulder, very small. 3 times. 2 and 3. We'll switch to the right shoulder, back, down, and around. Thinking about the arms, thinking about the palm. 3 times. Back to the left, back, down and around. Again, 3, and then right, back, down and around. 1, 2, and 3. Now let's do both shoulders together, back, down, and around, thinking about both arms, both palms. Back, down, and around. Some of the chi sensations might be a little bit of a tingling in the palms. We'll do one more, and then we'll bring the palms forward, facing each other. Anywhere above the head, we open them up. They face the floor, bring them down. In a continuous motion, we continue. The palms forward, facing each other. Anywhere above the head, we open. And then we bring them down. It's like wood floating in the water, bringing up the arms. Magnets repel. The palms sink back down like a pebble. Here we'll transition. We'll go up halfway. Relax the scapula, the shoulders, the arms follow in that transition, facing the floor, out to the side, anywhere above the head, back down the middle. Palms out, facing the ground, the side, coming together, palms facing each other, and down to the middle. One more time, palms going out, down, of the head together and facing each other. And slowly back down to our ready position on the legs. And with the left knee, we start our circles, small circles, inward. And then we'll reverse the motion, small circles going outward, left knee. Thinking about the knee. Then right knee, inward circles, small. And transition to now circling outward. Thinking about the knee, small circles. We'll make smaller and smaller circles until we get to our ready position, and we'll start the side to side. Left side first, like a tree in the wind, and to the right side. Excellent. Again to the left side. Mind intentions on the pendulum motion, and to the right. One more on each side. bring ourselves back to a ready position where we'll raise the palms to the front of the waist and then do circles to the left, back, right. Go hula hoop. Left, back, right, and then to the front. The back is straight. Breathing is relaxed. We're thinking about the waist, thinking about the low back, thinking about the hips, that general area. Do one more. And then again, a smooth transition to going the other direction. Relaxed breathing to the lower abdomen. And thinking about the lower abdomen. A couple more. And then smaller and smaller circles as we go back to our ready position. Excellent. All right, good job. Thank you all. Mm. So I encourage you, because this is a new practice and in a process of discovery, to be childlike. Be very kind to yourself and meet yourself wherever you are. And just explore and have fun with it. Again, this is a great practice. Each of the individual pieces that you can share with family and with friends. And I know from experience, because people have told me, when you share this with kids and grandkids, they do like this. They often think it is very funny, especially when you're bouncing up and down and there's a lot of laughing, which is beneficial too. And so next time, maybe we'll talk more about the emotions and the food. But I see there's a few more questions in the chat that I'll take a look at. And please do reach out to me. That is my text-capable cell phone. That's an email and a couple different websites for me. And in the chat, let's see what else we have. People sending it out. All right, good.
Thank
Oh, my pleasure. You're very welcome, Peggy. Yeah. Feel free to unmute too if it's too much to type. If you want to share something, I think people will be able to unmute. At the beginning, we were able to.
you.
So,
Yep.
yeah, feel free.
David, I think it was very appropriate that you ended on the with the kid example because I found myself smiling during this exercise. It was that relaxing. So I'm already a proponent of that. It does. I can't imagine doing it with kids. I can.
Mm, mm. They do love it. They do. Mm.
I'm just glad we can watch the video over and over and practice with you again.
Absolutely. Yeah. These are all parts of a longer form that I have been practicing for about 18 years. And believe it or not, I taught you some discrete exercises. But at the end of the form, we talked about these different areas of blockage in the body. You've got the shoulder, you have the knees, you have the waist, the back, the hips. So once you get things flowing in those areas, then that opens it up to other movements in a deeper part of this particular practice where the movements, when you're in this more deeper meditative state, are part of your own personal prescription. So we did not have enough time. I wanted to give you guys some theory and some history because I think understanding that is much more important than trying to rush through everything. Even though I'm sure at the beginning I probably did rush a little bit too much for some of you. But you're right. I knew that there was going to be the recording, and I think that it's great to be able to have that as a tool and a resource. So though we did advertise it, we have 5 minutes. I'll quickly share. Doctors do agree, whether they're Eastern or Western, of this phenomena for diet. The only thing they can really agree on is this idea of eating the rainbow. So having a variety of foods and then having them be, of course, very colorful. And so this is going to lead you when you're in that grocery store shopping on the perimeter for all of those things. So just like how we talked about our movements, how we wanted to have them to be able to go through all of the different range of motion, like the joint is like a circle or the area is like a circle, and we want to be able to move in all directions. So too, if you're able to tolerate it, the different foods and having a variety. And then importantly, something that we can talk about next time is how different we all are. And again, this is good for giving ourselves a lot of grace, as some of you said, when trying some of these new movements, but then being able to relax in it, getting our mind out of it. But what might be helpful and healthy for one person might look very different for us. Like we might have somebody that we know that eats salads all the time and feels great. But for me, at least, it's not part of my constitution. It's a little too cold. In Chinese medicine, we'll not only talk about the different elements, but again, the yin and the yang and the temperature quality of it. So if you're always eating raw vegetables because it's healthy, but it's giving you an upset stomach and it's messing with your digestion, it might not be the right thing for you. So even if it's healthy in a news article or something that your friend has told you, absolutely, like with our Qigong, pay attention to how you feel. And then if you're always finding yourself, I had a patient that everything went on the grill, everything. And their particular constitution was they ran very hot. And even just by looking at them, they had the red, ruddy cheeks. And it was a little bit too much of an extreme. So having a variety, or at least paying attention to how you're cooking something, whether it's literally over a fire and you're introducing even more of that fire yang, or it's done in a different way. You're introducing water, you're boiling, you're steaming, and of course, like we talked about at the beginning, that idea of everything is raw and that's healthy. Know that it's got to be a balance, and that really you are the best person to kind of go through that. So I think that and the emotions we will have to save for next time. Anything left in the chat? And again, feel free to unmute. Recovering from sciatic. Oh,
It's
I love that. Yeah, somebody shared that there was a particular pain presentation that they've got a sciatic, which can be exquisitely painful, I have been told. And so these are gentle movements. And the goal of what I'm trying to do with a lot of this are find different areas to get plugged in, like with your amazing group here. And others have said for seniors, this is great because we're all again told that we need to be doing movements and exercises, but having something that is not strenuous and is helping to build that, helping you to do those different movements and build up some positions and some postures that maybe you're not doing is so very useful. In addition to things like my grant for the VA would be dealing with veterans. And then if there's a group for chronic pain, I've led Qigong groups there as well. There's so much that really this has a potential to be used for. And what's great, we all probably came into this practice, like that picture that I showed before, maybe with some different aches and pains. We all did the same form, But because it's not like something very specific, it's not like we exercised our bicep muscle for our bicep. It was a healing form that we did. So the body naturally wants to find that homeostasis and that rebalancing. And so the same moves that we all did, we're all feeling a little bit different from it. And that's just one of the more powerful things about the Qigong. So I thank you so much. We are at time. Get outside, enjoy the amazing day. And I'm so thankful for this opportunity. And hopefully I can see you all again.
Thank you so much, David. Really appreciated it. It's been fantastic. And thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Just want to quickly let you know our next session is going to be on August 22nd, and it's going to be with Welcome Neighbor, who is Welcome Home Neighbor, excuse me, which is a local group that's helping families move out of shelters and into their own apartments, relying on the community to help furnish places with fresh belongings and supplies, as well as helping people actually move in and get settled. So we're going to learn about the community building activities that they're doing and hear from some of the organizers of that effort, and I hope that you can join us. And whether you are in Hyattsville or in one of the other villages along the corridor or somewhere else in the area, Hyattsville Aging in Place is having a Hops with Haps at Streetcar 82 brewing on July 31st from 4 to 6. So just a casual get together for members, volunteers, and anybody who's curious. So please feel free to join us. And again, thank you so much, David. Thank you to all the other villages that support Corridor Conversations too.